All right, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Sunday morning. May God bless you all in the name of Jesus, Yeshua, the Messiah. As Tostada Rostada says, all praise to the Most High God, Jesus the Messiah. Amen. Guys, is today the day? Is this week the week? Is ETH about to blast off into the stratosphere? Man, oh man, we have been looking for this for a long time, guys. And honestly, all I can say is, Market Cipher B does not lie, man. The high time frames don't lie. They don't lie. This is just another notch in the belt of trust that I have between myself and Market Cipher B. All right. Market Cipher B on the high turn time frames does not lie. It didn't lie about Bitcoin when we were still in the 80s and we were looking for that new all-time high back in April. And it definitely didn't lie about ETH when we were down here below $2,500 and we were looking for the break into the range, coming back to the value area high at around $4,000. We are currently $250 away from that target. And I think what's most important here is the fact that not only do we have the value area high target at $4,000, but we have this multi-year diagonal resistance that, if broken out of, could see a massive move up towards $10,000. Now, I know that's crazy. I know that sounds crazy, but I would just want to tell you guys, do you guys remember back in like the day when ETH was at like $200 in 2020, in the summer of 2020, and people were calling for a $1,000 ETH, how impossible it seemed? It seemed so impossible. I remember my wife was pregnant. All right, we had an ultrasound. I was in the parking lot listening to Ivan on Tech talk about how ETH is going to $800, and I thought, man, that seems so impossible right now. Here we are in the middle of nowhere. And then boom, baby, we got a rise up to $3,000. Now here we are, $3,000. Is it so crazy to think that ETH could pump another 100%? 180%? I don't think that's so crazy, to be honest with you, considering in the last 4 months we've already pumped up 180%. We just have to do what we already did. Now, everything right now, and I know I've been so bullish lately. Look, I'm sorry for being bullish at the highs, guys, but you have to understand, there's a time to be bullish at the highs, and I feel like this is the time. Why do I say that? Well, we've seen everything that we wanted to see across the whole crypto space. Everything that we were talking about for a potential bullish scenario is happening one by one. And so as long as they keep happening, the bullish scenario is still valid, right? Now we got to give a major shout out to everybody in the chat. First of all, KMax Strum, do we want that risk for 2x? It's up to you, bro. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm just going to give it to you straight. I ain't giving it to you gay. All right? You could do what you want. But I've actually moved some spot ETH into some inverse perpetual, opened up some very low leverage longs on Ethereum. Maybe it's a little bit greedy of me, but I'm gonna take the risk. I'm gonna take the risk here. You know, I've got some low leverage ETH longs, inverse perpetual, trying to make some ETH on the pump. I think this 2-month time frame is looking pretty good, man. I think this 2-month time frame is looking pretty good. Like, I might be able to maybe double my ETH right now. I'm not doing it with all my spot ETH, all right? But I might be able to get some more ETH on the way up here. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. That's what I'm doing right now. I thought about it. I said, you know what the heck? Because here's the thing. If ETH doesn't break out, then I'm not selling it anyway, and I'm not making any money anyway. You know, to be honest with you, I bought ETH back in November 2022 at around $1,500. It came all the way back down to my dang entry a few months ago. I was at no profit, okay? I hodled, holding with faith. And now I'm like, you know what? What the heck, man? Look at this 2-month. We're back at the trend line. If we come back down, then whatever, man. I don't even care anymore. If ETH ain't gonna break out now, and we're gonna enter into a bear market here, then whatever, man. It is what it is. I'll tell you. But we got to give a major shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Time. Shout out to, we got a super chat right away. Shout out to Silosis. Swing traded. I'm doing the same. Low leverage. Yeah, like, look, that's the thing. Look, this ain't no financial advice, and you don't even know what leverage is. Don't even think about doing this. But look, if you enter a low leverage trade, the liquidation risk is so low. ETH's going to have to come all the way back down below value area low, right? You got a 2x leverage trade on, you're going to have to come down to about $1,800 Ethereum before you get liquidated. You got plenty of time, all right, before you get liquidated on a 2x leverage trade. And, you know, that's a big drop. Could it happen in a second? Yeah. Could I get liquidated? Yeah, of course. But the chances are low, and honestly, you see it happening before it happens, all right? But, yeah, maybe I'm too bullish. Maybe this is a sign that the bull market's over. Jason Casper, long in the top. All right? Maybe this is a sign that it's over. Jay Casper, long in the top. So let's see. I'm very confident right now we're going to hit our $4,000 target. It might not happen today. We might get a Monday dump. Like, look, we might even come back down and test the value area POC of the range here before we get the breakout. All right, we might. We're going to talk about all the potentials here. We're going to talk about the potential scenarios that we got going on right now. All right. Shout out to Crypto Tender with the super chat. Shout out to Guy Incognito. Shout out to Turboton. Shout out to Perth. He says analyze some altcoins too. We will, man. But right now, ETH is the runner of the show. And make sure to smash the likes, because if we can get 1,000 likes, we are going to be giving away $1,000. Shout out to R Pink. He says my leverage starts at 20x LOL. What is low leverage? Yeah, 2 to 3x. Anything above 3x I consider high leverage if you're looking for like swing trades, okay? Now typically I'm not trading like that. I haven't done this since the last bull run. All right, I did this with Bitcoin. Shout out to Tosta Roasta. Just a small mustard seed of faith. Shout out to Bitman Sam. He says, what's up, Jay? What's pumping? Well, right now, ETH is pumping. Shout out to Mike Wadenhoff. He says, hello, Jesus. Nice new haircut. Oh, did you know I was Mexican, bro? Shout out to K-Max Strum. He says, 4 months ago, ETH is dead. Now, how much ETH do you need to retire? Yeah, like, that's the thing. It's interesting because, look, I haven't had the breakout. The breakout hasn't happened yet. So, Jay Casper isn't vindicated yet. Okay? I'm not vindicated yet. It might crash from here. I might make an absolute fool of myself right now. Okay? I might make an absolute fool of myself right now. But, you know, ever since we were down in this area, we're looking at this monthly saying, this monthly green dot is going to be a game changer. We have never in the history of ETH seen, while Bitcoin is above the previous market cycle all-time high, we have never seen a bottomed out monthly oscillator on market Cipher B, saying this is either the most obvious, juicy, amazing pump signal in the world, or ETH really is dead. Because honestly, if this can't break us out, then ETH is dead. If this 2-month time frame can't break us out, then ETH is dead, man. Let's be honest. But look at this weekly time frame right now. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the fact that in 11 hours and 37 minutes, we have a candle close on the weekly, which will officially now give us more money flow to the upside. Man, oh man. Money flow crossing that zero line after the monthly green dot has confirmed. All right, this is a very bullish signal, and we cannot look at ETH without just understanding for a second here the Bitcoin price. Okay, because why am I so bullish on ETH? It really has to do with just the simple 4-year cycle, right? The price of Bitcoin has officially now broken out and confirmed a weekly close above the previous range all-time high. All right, this is so significant because historically speaking, summers have been very bearish, right? We're about to get 2 weekly candle confirmation closes above the previous range all-time high. All right, now this is happening during the last half of the 4th year of the bull run cycle, right? So we have our halving, and then 500 days later, approximately, we top out. And so the question this whole time has been, are we going to have a summer dump like we have the past 3 years? Because if we get that summer dump and we can't break out of this area, then there's no way the altcoins are going to be able to pump. The first thing we needed to see in order to get bullish on altcoins was Bitcoin break out of this range. And when we look at the previous ranges here and these previous breakouts, look at what happens upon the breakout. We get a big solid break, a big weekly close, and then it's pretty much just up only for a little bit. I mean, that happened back here in March. I'm sorry, that happened in October. And then even still, it happened back here when we broke out in February 2024. We had that strong weekly close. We had a week of doji and then another big pump here, right? It happened back here. We broke the range high. Again, a really strong weekly candle and then kind of just up only. It happened over here, right? We broke strong weekly candle, a doji, and then we had 3 more weeks of up only. It happened, that first major breakout, that first major market structure change back here in December of 2022 when we got that weekly candle breakout. It was pretty much up only for a few weeks. So we're seeing the same pattern continue. Not only that, but we are seeing the oscillators look extremely bottomed out here. Weekly time frame, market Cipher B, we saw the hidden bullish divergence, right? A skinny left butt cheek, a thick, fat, juicy right butt cheek, squatting and deadlifting heavy weight to failure. 0 RIR, baby. All right, it's hard. It's hard. The intensity is high. Hidden bullish divergence, lower time frames had the regular bullish divergences. And look, if you've been following my channel, I've been ultra bullish since this happened. Maybe too bullish. And the whole time I've been asking, am I crazy? Or are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Right? So we got the move. We got the big breakout. We're holding above. And then when we take a look at the altcoin season index, I mean, we are seeing that money start to come in now to the altcoins, right? Everything's lining up. We're like, okay, altcoin season looks like it could be coming. If we see Bitcoin break out of the range and form a range above the previous range, we're going to see altcoins move. And we were looking at those altcoin charts saying, we have never in the history of crypto seen such bullish looking, bottomed out, oversold altcoins while Bitcoin is in a massive uptrend way above the previous cycle all-time high. We have never seen altcoins dip down into bear market prices while Bitcoin is at a new all-time high. Never. And so just the sheer bullishness of these bottomed out charts here. All right. And now we're coming up to the trend line. Is ETH going to follow in the footsteps of XRP? Look at XRP breaking out. You know? Now, I personally, I think we can do it. I think we can come up back to this trend line. We've tried to break out before. It was a fake out. We got that dump to the downside. We come back up now. I think this could be the real thing. I mean, look at this. All right? Just look at this. We very well could have already our shoulder, head, shoulder, and then the break. All right? Now, another scenario that could happen, honestly, is shoulder, head, shoulder, and then the break. All right? Whatever the case, I think it's looking really good based on these high-term time frames for the breakout here. And if we get some zigging and zagging on the low-term time frames, like come back and test 2,700, for example, you know, that's, in my opinion, that would look really nice. That would look really nice, right? That $2,700, that would look so nice right now because we have gotten our rotation back to the top of our range. And so now we move back down to the bottom of the range at 2,700. That's going to be the next opportunity, I think, if we get that pullback to hop into Ethereum, baby. Y'all trying to hop into Ethereum? Now, this is my second biggest altcoin holding on spot besides Bitcoin. It's Ethereum. So I am emotionally invested in Ethereum hitting these price targets. Now, first of all, why do I even have these targets on the chart? It's quite simply because we have this trend line here. You know, just some good old-fashioned technical analysis. All right, take our trend line from the triangle, and then we measure the breakout to the top. But even going beyond the basic, most basic pattern analysis, we take our Fibonacci trend-based extension from the low to the high to the low, and you can see that we've got basically our next target being the 1-to-1 Fibonacci extension. Then we've got a $6,600 ETH, the 1.272, but then the 1.618 Fib, right around 8,005. That's a really key target in my opinion. Then the 2-to-1 is a moonshot target at a $10,000 ETH. I think we can see that happen really quick. I mean, again, I'm sorry for being so bullish, and I hate apologizing about it, but here's the thing. Like, I understand. You have to understand where I'm coming from. I'm a YouTuber. A lot of people watch me, right? Got 150,000 subs. So I understand the danger of being bullish at the top, where somebody would be pressured to FOMO in because of what I say. I want to let you guys know that I don't recommend FOMOing into ETH right now, okay? I don't recommend that. If you're on the sidelines, maybe just wait it out until next cycle, all right? But for those of us who have been in ETH for a long time and are looking for major take profits at these levels, I think there's a really good shot that we get there. And if you are the kind of person that buys the top, I think the probabilities are pretty high that we get there, right? This 2-month time frame, again, we have never seen ever something like this. This monthly time frame, we have never seen something so bullish ever. All right, the last time we saw ETH come this far oversold was literally the bottom of the bear market. All right, literally the bottom of the bear market. So it's pretty crazy to see that in a bull market. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens as the weekly candle closes. But right now, the key levels to watch are going to be the following for ETH. All right, let's put all this stuff into a nice little folder here. All right, right now we are simply keeping our eyes on the range value area high. Okay, right now the next major area of resistance is going to be the $4,000 level, $4,044.00 on the Bybit inverse perpetual chart. All right, this is the value area high of the range. This is basically all the volume that's traded since February 2024 until our present day, and I consider this the sideways range of basically the bull market, right? Because let's see what happens. I mean, wow, so this is quite interesting as well. If we take a look at pretty much all the volume we traded ever since breaking out of the major support resistance flip, I would consider this level right here, $2,000, the bear market ceiling, the bull market support. If we take everything that we traded since then, we're actually about to close the weekly candle above that value area high. If we look at it just from this first high that we made, then you can see that $4,000 is our major volume target, right? But when we just analyze this structure here, what a beautiful thing this is to see the lows, one more test of the lows with the wick up, a massive fake out, a reclaim, a back test, and I mean, look, how long have I been saying, as soon as we come above 2,700, we're going to shoot right up to 4,000, all right? I've been saying it for months because it's just what happens when you have a value area, a fair value zone. When the price comes below a fair value zone and then enters back inside that fair value zone, we get vacuum sucked up to the top of that fair value zone. So this pump should not be a surprise if you've been following my channel, right? But as soon as we come above that $4,000 level, all right? As soon as we do something like this, right? As soon as we do this up here, and we tap the level, we get a back test, and then we reclaim it, this is also now, in my opinion, going to be another opportunity to buy the top on ETH. All right. Now, of course, remember, you're buying the top. Like, here's the thing, guys. You have to remember, if you're in a bull run, if you're in a pump, you have to be cognizant of the fact that if you're buying the top, it could literally be the top, right? If we're buying a $4,000 ETH, well, historically speaking, that's resistance. Historically speaking, that's when you should sell. So you have to be aware of these things. But because we see such bullish oscillators here, this would give us a potential entry, because what used to be resistance, which has been resistance since 2021, if we get a reclaim of that, and then we come back for a dip, a back test, maybe we bounce from 3,300 or so, 3,500, as soon as we come back above that $4,000 level, what we've done is we've changed $4,000 from resistance into support, right? Like, you can't just long as we're coming to 4,000. I mean, you could do whatever you want, but the safe, responsible thing to do is to wait until, watch what happens at 4,000, right? What's likely, I think, to happen at 4,000 is a little bit of consolidation. It depends on how bullish the sentiment is. I mean, we might blast right through there, and then we might not come back. But what's probably a little bit more likely to happen is we find some kind of consolidation there. We do kind of like what we did back here at like 2,500. You know, the market needs to really test. Do we want to flip this resistance into support? And then if we get the break and the retest, that, in my opinion, is a swing long. And we have our targets based on Fibonacci extension. If we hit our 1.618, that's a 4-to-1 risk reward, assuming we come back down to backtest 3,300, right? Like, this risk reward is hypothetical, right? We might not come down that low. We could have a better risk to reward there. Maybe we come down lower. Maybe we retest 2,700. In that case, it's still a valid risk reward. 2.3 times more upside than downside, right? But it wouldn't be as good an entry. We would probably look for something more like this, right? If we come back down to backtest 2,700, then we're coming back down to the support where we're looking for that head and shoulders, right? Shoulder, head, and then shoulder. And then once we bounce from 2,700, wherever that wick goes, that's where we'd put our stop loss. This could give us a really nice risk to reward in the event of a deeper pullback, right? So right now, like, if you're on the sidelines for ETH, you're looking for a responsible entry. Now remember, responsible entries aren't guaranteed. All right, irresponsible entries are always guaranteed. You just got to hit that buy button. But responsible entries are not always guaranteed. But as a trader, you do want to wait for those responsible entries. So right now, responsible entry number one would be, watch what happens at 4,000. We consolidate, we get a little pullback. As soon as we reclaim 4,000, boom, that's your entry. Stop loss, bam. All right. If we reject from 4,000 and everyone says, I told you ETH was bearish, I told you we weren't going to break out, I told you, you guys are so dumb for being bullish on ETH. How could you be bullish on ETH? I mean, have you seen Vitalik Buterin lately? Now look, then we have our shoulder, head, shoulder. We come back down to back test, 2,700, value area low of the range. We make another higher low, and then we get our breakout, right? So those would be the two options right now on Ethereum. And remember, it is a Sunday, so the weekends have actually been pretty pumpy for crypto lately, to be honest with you. They've been pretty pumpy for crypto lately, to be honest with you, man. Now, we got to give a major shout right now to crypto, to Silosis V2. Don't be sorry. ETH all-time high incoming. Market Cipher says it's looking good. Yeah, I understand that. I want to make sure people understand where I'm coming from too, Silosis, because I don't want to make people do something dumb that they'll regret. Like, you should, here, just big disclaimer, this is not financial advice, and if you're actually going to YouTube in order to decide whether or not to click buy or sell, don't click buy or sell at all right? Instead, become educated yourself so you can make your own decisions, because just because an asset is bullish doesn't mean you should buy it now. There's many things to consider. Risk, reward, how having a plan. Like, there's so many things that are more important when it comes to investing than clicking the buy or sell. All right, so if you actually want to learn how to trade, check out my free trading course on my YouTube channel. All right, 100% free, 18 sessions. This will walk you through everything in order to make your own dang decisions without watching YouTubers. Now, it's good to watch YouTubers, you know. Shouldn't bite the hand that feeds me, huh? But no, look, it's good to watch YouTubers, but you should be watching YouTubers for confluence with your own ideas, all right? That's why I watch YouTubers. I watch them for confluence with my own ideas. I want to know what Andy from Bitcoin Census thinks. I want to know what Frankie Candles thinks, and what MDX Crypto thinks, and what Daniel from Chart Champions thinks. And all these good traders out there who have a different trading style than me. I watch YouTube channels. I want to know what Sam Price thinks. But I'm not looking to copy them. I'm not looking to, like, have them give me the answer. I already have my answer. I want to see, do they agree with me? Because if they agree with me, that makes me feel like, yeah, man, you know, hey, it's not just me, you know? If they have a different perspective, now you got to weigh that into your analysis, right? Also, guys, if you want to trade Bitcoin and altcoins, check out WEEX. All right, low fees. Also, guys, check out BLOFIN. BLOFIN right now, coming on in with all the juicy benefits. 20% cash back, $500 future bonus, a chance to win all these prizes. Also, guys, check out this new exchange I've been messing with called KCEX. All right, KCEX. KCEX, guys, very low fees. I've been messing around scalping on KCEX lately. All right, and it has very low fees, link in the description. Also, if you know how to trade but you have no money, check out Klein Funding, because I've worked out a deal with them. They've worked out a deal with me. 15% and 25% off these funded prop firm accounts using my link and discount codes in the description. Also, the Instant Pro accounts, you don't have to pass a test. 15% off. And if you want to join the Casper crew, where we give the trade setups in advance, we longed 100K, we longed 105K, we longed 116K, still open right here. You can go to jasoncaspertrading.com to join the best trading community in the world. All right. Now ETH is pumping. Bitcoin's holding still, which is also another reason why I'm kind of bullish on Ethereum, to be honest with you. I mean, another reason why I'm bullish on Ethereum is because Bitcoin's just chilling out. Yeah, it's called KCEX, Christopher. I'm never gonna get over that name, honestly. Like, here's the thing with all these exchange names. I remember when MEXC first came out, I was calling it MEXC. It was so hard to say. Then finally, MEXC. Mexican food, burrito, taco. I just start calling it tacos and cheesy nachos. But then, you know, KCEX, you know, I know that across the pond they call it KCEX. Sounds like cereal. Maybe I'll call it KCEX. You know, I start my morning with a giant bowl of KCEX. Just some good old GMO corn with some good old GMO beet sugar sprinkled on top. A little bit of soy lecithin in there. And I put on a whole bunch of pasteurized milk full of different types of hormones. And that's how I start my day, with a bowl of KCEX. Or you guys want to be strong? Like Tiger Woods? Eat your dang KCEX. Very low fees. Link in the description, baby. Shout out to John Ploney. It's so weak. Is it safe sex? Well, here's the thing, guys. Every single centralized exchange is a risk. Unless it's decentralized, like Antarctic Exchange, link in the description, it's a risk, all right? So I only keep enough money on exchanges to enter maybe 1 or 2 trades at a time. Everything else, cold storage is the way to go, all right? So we looked at Bitcoin, we looked at Ethereum. I'm telling you why I'm bullish. Again, it doesn't mean we're not going to dump. That's another thing I want to make clear. I'm bullish on ETH, but I'm open to different possibilities. I'm open to the breakout and retest idea. I'm open to the dump back down to 2,700 idea. But the high time frames are keeping me bullish. So if we do dump, Jay Casper's looking to buy the dip. If we don't dump, looking for a breakout and retest. All right. Let's take a look now at some assets that I feel like we still have time on. All right, Cardano. Pretty soon, guys, Cardano is going to do what ETH has just done. All right, pretty soon, ADA is going to do what ETH has just done. We go to the monthly time frame. The monthly time frame is about to print a green dot. Remember, ETH printed the green dot on the monthly time frame, gave us a big pump. Cardano printed a green dot on the monthly time frame, gave us a big pump of about 200%, and ever since then, we have been forming this bull flag, this bull pennant, this falling wedge bullish pattern, which is also the handle of a cup and handle. We're currently breaking out of the trend line, and we're about to close our second weekly candle above. Now, when we look at the market structure on Cardano, what do we see? As we make the bottom, we are seeing the money flow getting higher, the momentum waves getting higher. That's right. The coveted, Sam Bankman-Fried, uneven man-boob pattern, or is this known in the medical journals, gynomatisticus crooked. Gynomatisticus crooked. It's a very technical scientific term. We put the man boobs on the chart, we stretch them on out, and we see the resemblance is quite indeed striking. Wow. That is a bottom signal on the weekly, big time. All right, big time. Then what we do is we change market structure. We make a higher high. Then we make a higher low, and we're seeing money flow continuing to get higher. And not only that, but we're seeing local bullish weekly divergences forming right here. Okay, pretty dang juice, if you ask me. Then we make another higher low and another higher high. And every time we make a higher low, we're back testing key support. All right, I don't have time to draw out all the fib levels, but right now, we are bouncing from the zone between the Fibonacci golden pocket and the 786. All right, so Cardano has come down to major fib support, which is this. Originally it was this, but now we've adjusted it to this because, you know, we no longer have to worry about that higher level that we come below it. And basically, as long as we hold above 786, I'd say we have a pretty good risk to reward setup here on Cardano. Not financial advice, but from where we're at literally right now, there's 5 times more upside than downside. Now, even this last low that we made here, I just want to point out the fact that this breakout is happening on a weekly bullish divergence. Right? The price is making a higher low right here. The momentum wave is making a lower low. All right? The hidden bullish divergence. The mirror mode uneven butt cheek pattern. All right? It's a continuation pattern. Are we going to continue the uptrend? See, here's what happens. She's out at the club, you know? Now, it's one of those crazy clubs that don't close at 2 a.m., but 2 a.m. comes along, she's like, should I go home or should I continue? She doesn't know. Then she looks in the mirror and she sees herself having such a good time. She's like, you know what? I'm going to have to continue this party. That's exactly what happened down here on Market Cipher B. All right, we had the continuation hidden bull div here. She saw herself in the mirror. She's continuing the party. All right, she's going to have a bad morning tomorrow. She'll deal with it tomorrow. Okay? We're breaking out now the trend line. And this is a cup and handle. We take our target of the cup and handle from the low to the high. We extrapolate from the neckline. We're talking a $5.5, $6 Cardano, depending on how you draw the cup and handle, right? These things are a bit subjective. They're a bit subjective, yeah. Now, I am just curious. Let's do a trend-based Fibonacci on this. To see where that... Yeah, interesting. That's the 4.618. So that lines up nicely with the Fibonacci extension level as well. That's quite interesting. All right. Now, it's even if Cardano doesn't hit a new all-time high, it's still more upside than downside in my opinion. We hit our new all-time high. That's a pretty good risk to reward ratio. And I'm fully convinced that Cardano is going to follow in ETH's footsteps. Take a look at Sol. I'm pretty convinced Sol's also going to follow in ETH's footsteps, all right? One at a time here, guys. One at a time. All right, you know how alt season goes. Something pumps. All the YouTube thumbnails talking about that one thing. And if you didn't find out about it until the YouTube thumbnails, you're late to the party. Did you buy the top? Well, now it's time to dump. Just kidding. Sometimes not kidding. But we've got these other assets here. Look at Cardano. Look at Solana. Also about to print a monthly green dot. Hasn't printed yet. looks like it's about to print. Okay, so we're front running that green dot print. Look at the 2 week here. We've got ourselves an anchor, a trigger. Money flow thickening. Again, we've got that uneven butt cheek pattern, right? We've got that nice cheeks. All right, juicy on the left, skinny on the right. Left side, squats, deadlifts, high protein, high carb. Look, you gotta eat high carb if you wanna get big. I don't understand you keto people. There's no way you have good workouts as a keto person. There's no way. You need carbs, man. How are you gonna squat heavy without carbs? I mean, come on. I mean, come on. You know? That's crazy. But look, we're not here to talk about diet and butt cheeks. Oh, wait a second. We always talk about diet and butt cheeks on this channel. But we're here to talk about the fact that, once again, this is the 2 week time frame. We are seeing the 2 week time frame on Solana bottomed out, anchor trigger, money flow getting thick, while Bitcoin is at a new all-time high during the last 6 months of the bull run, while the altcoin season index says that we're seeing money flow into the altcoins now from Bitcoin. Bitcoin's ranging. And look at just this structure. Now again, if I'm wrong about all these assets, I am wrong. And again, I have money in Solana. I have money in Cardano. I have money in ETH. So I'm emotionally invested in these targets. I am. I'm just being honest. If my targets get hit, I have actual things that I'm going to spend that money on. I have plans for it. Now, if the Lord doesn't want those plans to come to fruition, then he doesn't want those plans to come to fruition. All right? But so far I've got these plans for it, right? Now look at the structure here. We formed a range, right? We topped out. We had a bearish divergence and we topped out at the range, right? Then we come to the range low. We take all the liquidity, basically stop hunt everybody, right? And look at the 2 week candle here. Deep wick, hammer candle, very bullish. All right, we bounced from our major support resistance flip going all the way back to January 2022. Now we are back inside the sideways range. All right, so what's most probable to happen? We saw it happen to Bitcoin, we saw it happen to ETH. What's most probable to happen when an asset comes below the range low and then comes back inside the range and gets a back test and then starts to pump again while market Cipher B's bottomed out on the 2 week? Like, what are the probabilities, would you think? All right, if an asset has a bullish hammer candle fake out, a reclaim of support, a back test of the Fibonacci golden pocket, and then another juicy bottom trigger wave on the weekly as money flow gets thicker, what's most probable to happen? Pump, baby. I mean, that's the most probable. What could happen? Dump. Could Sol go to zero? Yeah. All these things could go to zero. All right. Now, I have been in Sol since before that big dump happened. So I've been in Sol since around 20 bucks, give or take. I didn't buy it at that. I didn't get to buy it lower than that. All right, and I have not sold any. I've not sold any Sol. I'm not gonna sell it until we make new all-time highs. And I thought about selling here when I saw that swing failure pattern happen. And I said, nah, I'm not gonna do it. And I did regret it a little bit, but now that hope is coming back into my heart. All right, also look at this. We've got shoulder, head, shoulder. I know it's not a real head and shoulders. All you head and shoulder police out there are gonna come and try and pull me over. Look, I've been pulled over for trading and driving before by the head and shoulder police. Jason, that's not a head and shoulders. I'm trading and driving. I'm going 95 into 25 residential zone. Got the kids in the back. No seatbelts, no car seat. Wife over here screaming, trying to jump out the window because she thinks she has more of a chance to live if she jumps out the window than if she stays in the car with me. Cops pull me over. Sir, do you know how fast you were going? Officer, I don't know, because I was trading this inverse head and shoulder breakout. Takes a look at the chart. Jason, you idiot, that's not a head and shoulders! Arrests me right then there on the spot. You idiot, that's not a head and shoulders. Where's the neckline? A head and shoulders has a neckline, Jason. It's like this. It's not head and shoulders unless it looks perfect like this, all right? This is the head and shoulders. And he gave me a ticket. He sent me to jail. Whew. Worst day of my dang life, all right? I see you head and shoulders police out there in the comments. I see you trendline police. Jason, that's not the trend line. That's not the head and shoulders. That's not the cup and handle. Jason, that's not the cup and handle. Look, I don't claim to be an expert, all right? I'm just a man. All right. I'm just a man. Just a man on a treadmill with a plan. Just a man with a plan on the treadmill with a plunger in his hand who got his degree in college in trans non-carbon binary emission gender studies, $500,000 in debt, couldn't get a job because they wanted experience, whatever that is, even though I knew everything about trans non-carbon binary emission gender studies, which is the only thing that matters for all business. All right? But this is what got me into trading. This is what got me into trading. $500,000 in debt. Trans non-carbon. I was against carbon, and then I found out I was made of carbon, and then I was against myself, and it was just a downward spiral until I found trading. And then it changed me. Then next thing you know, I'm like this, you know? Next thing you know, I went from this to this to this. Oh wait, not to that, to this. All right? That's my story. This ain't no financial advice. All right? How did we even get here? How did we even get here? I don't know. I don't know how we got here. Shout out to Marley, man, that's me. He says Satoshi Nakamoto's private wallet is off-chain. Reserve, all the ETFs have been buying from. Remember, Bitcoin has a log of transfer and no transfers have been going through, aka off-chain trading. Interesting, man. You know, I've never really looked into that. Interesting stuff. Let's take a look at some other stuff here. You know, Chainlink, I also think is primed. You know, a lot of these coins have not moved yet, but I believe we're going to see Cardano, Solana, Chainlink, AVAX do what we have just seen ETH do as well. We'll probably see some meme coins do it as well. You know, maybe we got a chance with our Jasmy coin. Maybe we got a chance with our PP coin. You know, maybe. Maybe we got a chance with Brett coin. You know, what was the one we were looking at that looked really bullish? There was a coin that looked really bullish. Was it CAS? I might have been CAS, actually. It might have been CAS. Man, look how much CAS has pumped since we did our analysis here, man. CAS has pumped quite a bit since we did our analysis earlier in the month. That's crazy, man. We have gotten quite a bit of pump on CAS. Mama CAS from the mamas and the papas. If you're a baby boomer like me, put a 1 in the chat, alright? Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat here. First of all, we got to give a major shout out to I Show You. He says, can you check SDEX USDT MEXC chart? Sure thing, I Show You. SDEX. SDEX. Well, look at this, man. The last time we analyzed this, we were spot on. Wow, would you look at that? Would you look at that? The last time we analyzed this, we were spot on with that. Okay, that was back in February 2024. That's crazy. I don't even remember looking at this coin, but man, we were spot on with that, huh? All right, let's take a look. And I say we to make it sound more inclusive. Because really, it's just me, right? But one of the things that I learned in college was always say we to be more inclusive. Everything needs to be as inclusive as possible. Everyone needs to be included. Everyone needs to have equal everything, right? Everyone has to have everything in common, you know? Is there a word for that where everyone has everything in common? They should make a word for that. But let's could be some kind of ism, right? Maybe communism. Communism. Maybe we'll call it communism or communism. What do you guys think? We all have everything in common. It's we, man. We predicted it. We're doing this together, you know? I'm the one making the trades, but we're all doing it together. You know? Communism, we'll call it. You know, one person's making all the money, but we're all doing it together. Sounds so good. Now, let's see here. We'll start on the monthly. Let's go to the weekly. The weekly. Okay, so let's look at the volume here. I wish I saw more of a bull dip, but here's the one thing we can say for certain. I don't even like that. Yeah, okay, let's keep this on the chart. The one thing we can say for certain about this, I Show You, which I'm sure you're looking at as well, is this, all right? we had the lows, the last low, and we've gotten a dip below it where we basically came to bottom as bottom could be. We've reclaimed, we've made a higher high locally here. This was our last lower high. And now we're getting a retest on that support resistance flip. We pulled the fib from the low to the high. Bouncing from the zone between the 6 Juanita and the 786. And so then we would expect our higher high back to value area low to our next order block on the weekly. Looking for another from this area. 59%. We understand if we reclaim value area low, probabilities are highest that we come to value area high, where we have a trend line right here. And we understand also if we break the trend line, then it's Pump City, right? Then it's Pump City, we're going for the high, and most likely making a new all-time high, right? That's probably what you're looking at, I show you. Right? Am I wrong? But, so look, I don't know anything about smart DEX, but I would say that the weekly time frame is about to print a trigger wave with increasing money flow. Let's check out our 2-day. 2-day money flow looks really nice. 2-day gave us a nice bull div at the bottom, change of market structure, money flow cross, bullish divergence here locally during the money flow cross. I'd say it looks pretty nice, looks pretty bottomed out. All right, now, this is more of a speculative asset for me because I don't know anything about SDEX. But if the fundamentals are bullish and we know we're heading into an altcoin season within the next few months, is this a bad place to get in? No, absolutely not. It's actually a good place to get in. If you're interested in SDEX and we're looking for this bullish thing to happen here, then we have a really good risk to reward ratio if we're maintaining this uptrend here. 15 times more upside than downside here. And that's just assuming the previous all-time high is hit. If we make a new all-time high, you know, then if we come up to 3.5 cents, that's a 20-to-1 risk reward right there. You know, take it off log scale and you could see how nice this trade potential really looks. Just based on the chart itself, it looks pretty nice to me. It looks pretty nice to me. The oscillator does look bottomed out. There's a good risk to reward ratio. We're obviously front running the value area low here. So like if the downtrend continues, you know, 0.007527 cents is going to be a place where we reject from. But the good things about this right now is that this bottom does look very nice. It's a rounded bottom, bullish divergence, change of market structure, back test of the fib level, continued bullish oscillator, heading into alt season, good risk reward, you know, looks not so bad, honestly. Gotta give a major shout out to King Sock. He says Sui. Yeah, Sui, that was the one we were looking at. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Check out Sui. All right, so I'd have to say Sui is here's the deal with Sui. All right, here's the deal with Sui's. Sui. Patui. Sui. Sui Patui. So, we were talking about the valid long setup that we had right in the moment 2 days ago, or a few days ago, back whenever I gave this, said, look, Sui right now, what do we see? We see bullish divergence, really nice low. We see a change of market structure, and then we bounce from the key fib support. All right, as we're forming a bullish, we're bullish because it's a symmetrical triangle, but the probabilities are that it breaks out in the direction of the trend. Right now, the trend is clearly up. And so having seen the bottom, the higher high, the back test of the fib, we had a valid entry here to kind of front run that breakout, understanding that we have a wide stop, right? So this is still valid, but if we come in right now, it's not really the best risk to reward. If we're coming up to our $8.50 target, which how did we achieve that target? Was it I think it was the triangle. Oh yeah, so I think we had our bull flag. Yeah, we had our bull flag. All right. So entering now, it doesn't give you really the best risk to reward. Let's check out the daily. Okay, so the daily is about to give us a money flow cross. So it looks really bullish. It looks really bullish. here's kind of how I would look at this right now. If I was looking for a long on SUI now, I would want to and need to have to wait for a breakout. And honestly, ideally a back test, you know? Ideally a breakout and a back test, because that would give us a very precise entry with our stop below that last low. And then taking us up to our target, that's going to give us a really nice risk to reward compared to right now. It'll take us from a 2.3 to 1 to almost a 4 to 1, right? Breakout and retest. The second setup, which is still possible, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it happens, it's actually a really great opportunity, is basically reject from here, come all the way back down, and get a fake out of the triangle bottom, and then pump, all right? Because remember, crypto loves to do stuff like that. Here's a scenario that we always see in crypto. Entice top longers, like this, we're breaking out, right? And people long, instead of waiting for the back test to take their long trade right here, people long the top. And then what happens is when we come down for the back test, is we don't get a back test. Instead of getting the back test and a pump, we get a back test and a rejection, all right? And then it's a quick move down, okay? So we faked out the high and then we fake out the low. Kind of like what happened to ETH. All right, ETH, we faked out the high. You guys remember this? I remember this. I was super bullish here myself. In fact, I did take an ETH long here and made money on it because if you zoom in, this is also why breakouts and retests are kind of dangerous in general, because look at what we had here. I took the long on the retest, right? We had a breakout, we had a back test, then we got the long signal, the breakout above, right? We even made a higher high, but you still got to be careful. I mean, long at the top is some dangerous stuff, even if you see a breakout and a back test, right? So what happened after we got the fake out of the triangle? We come all the way back down to the bottom of the triangle, right? And guess what? Fake out of the bottom of the triangle. So going back to SUI, this is a pattern that crypto just loves to do in general. And so that's why I say, like, you know, obviously there's an opportunity to long the breakout backtest, but the better long trade, which isn't guaranteed, because remember, sometimes alts just run and we don't get the opportunity. But right now, taking out these lows, taking out the stop losses below our April low would be the most epic long on SUI, all right? So that's kind of the way I look at it. Entry points, you know, right now, maybe if you wanted to right now take a low probability kind of trade, you'd have your stop underneath the lows from last Friday, right? Right under here, front running that breakout. The second opportunity would be wait for a breakout and any kind of back test. I would still keep the stop under this low. That'd be the second opportunity. And then the third opportunity would be a fake out of the triangle. And then we come back down to the bottom. And then we look for that stop hunt at $1.59.83 cents. You know, $1.5983. 1.5983. 1.5983. 1.5983. 1.5983. 1.5983. Shout out to Internet Money. Can you look at Tezos? Wow. Look at that weekly candle. Okay, so what do I say about Tezos here? Oh man. Well, I do have to say that I really like the fact that we have bullish divergences building up at the bottom. Look at the money flow getting higher and the momentum is getting higher. We also see interesting trumpet pattern forming here. Okay. It looks very good. So I think maybe if we break out of here, we get the big move up. But I don't know for sure because I don't know much about Tezos. Let's check out our monthly. Monthly bull divs. Okay, so here's the deal with Tezos. Is it Tezos or Tezos? Man, this could turn into a Tezosta. Alright, but look, just objectively speaking, let's talk about risk reward. Alright? Considering all-time high. Alright? Stop under the lows. 10 to 1 risk reward. This chart actually looks bullish as all get out. Alright, if you're a baby boomer like me and you use that phrase, all get out. Put a 1 in the chat. Look, I'm a baby boomer, alright? I love mamas and the papas. And I use phrases like bullish as all get out. And I have no problem randomly using a really bad Indian accent during my stream, alright? I'm a baby boomer. I don't think there's anything wrong or racist about that. You know? Let's see. Yeah, so objectively speaking, we got a 10 to 1 risk reward ratio here. We got bullish divergences on the monthly. We got bullish divs on the 2-week. Money flow coming up. Looking pretty good. All right, we understand not only do we have our diagonal resistance, but our horizontal resistance. So the responsible way to play is breakout, retest, boom. The irresponsible, but in my opinion, highly probable way to play is, look, I'm not telling anybody to buy now, but what I am saying is if you did buy now, assuming that this is a very bullish signal, there's more upside than downside. I don't know the fundamentals about Tezos. I don't know if it's a good coin to buy fundamentally. I don't know if they quadrupled their dang money supply. Or as my 6-year-old daughter would say, they've Googleplexed. Because I taught her about Googleplex, the biggest number conceivable to man or something like that. Now she says that all the time. She's funny. She's smart. She's a smart girl. She's really good at math. Now anyway. What was I saying? There's Googleplex more upside than downside. There's Googleplex probability here that we're gonna pump. Look, I don't know the fundamentals of this coin. Maybe they've really devalued the token by printing more. Like, I don't know. But if they haven't, and we're gonna see it pump like we did last time, the risk to reward is good here. All right, the oscillator looks good here. It looks really good here. The money flow is directing the breakout, in my opinion, right? Now, an actual good entry here would have to be this. A back test of the support resistance flip. So right now, the original low that we made here, in September 2019, that's our Fibonacci golden pocket. This is an actual good place to actually get in. That's going to be between the prices of 63 cents and 77 cents. All right. If we get a pullback to there, that's going to be a really nice place to get in. Historic support. Stop loss only needs to go to negative 9.95 cents. All right. What's funny is, assuming the stop loss did go to negative 95 cents, that's I mean, it could literally go to 0, guys, and it's not even that bad of a risk. It could go negative and still a 1-to-1. I mean, that's funny. Either lose it all or make it all, right? But that would actually be a nice setup right there, giving us 25 to 1 risk reward. All right, so if you entered now, stop a little low, 10 to 1, you could get more than double that by waiting for a pullback. Not guaranteed a pullback here, but it does look like a nice chart. And thank you so much for the super chat, Internet Money. I appreciate it. Focus wants to look at cow. Moo. Yeah, we'll look at cow. We haven't looked at cow in a while. I remember the moo cow. Moo moo cow. Man, we gotta give a shout out to R Pink, quoting John 3:16 in the Hebrew. He's a pro at quoting Greek scriptures in Hebrew. Ki kohav Elohim et ha'olam, ad asher natan et beno, yachido, lema'an lo, yovad. It's very hard to read. I have to stretch it out and make it bigger. Hebrew's not my first language. Lo yovad kol hama'amin bo, ela yinchal chaim olam, chaye olam. This is how much God loved the world, that he gave his son, his only son, for the purpose that the believer in him will not perish, but they will inherit life eternal. Shout out to my man, R Pink. We got a lot of super chats in the house. Wow, the super chats are really pouring in here. We got to look at Cow, all right? All right, here we go. Cow. What do we see? Let's go ahead and pull the fixed range volume profile. All right. Okay. Let's go to the weekly. Not a lot of data, but we do have a green dot. Let's go to the 2-day. So, Cow. Man. I don't really know what to say about Cow, to be honest. I wish I could say more about it, but I don't necessarily see anything super juicy that I love. We have a low, we have a higher high, we have a back test of the value area low. We have money flow crossing on the 2-day. We're above the POC. We're in no man's land right here, really. If we go to the all-time highs of 3-to-1 risk reward, ideally I would. The question is, where would an entry point be? Because I do like the bottom. The bottom looks good. We have a change of structure. It looks like we want to push up to value area high. I would say I would want to see push up to value area high and then the back test and then look to get in around here. It would basically be the same entry, except now we would have a better risk to reward, right? It does look good. Like, I like the shape of it. The daily looks nice. Bullish divergence, trigger wave, high or low. It looks nice. The problem is, where would the entry be? Because we're right around that resistance. So, I mean, if you want to force a buy, which is never a good idea, you'd have to put your stop below that last swing low at like 33 cents and shoot for the all-time high. That's not bad. That's a 4-to-1, but it's not the best entry, right? It's really just not the best entry point, in my opinion. What do I know? Crypto Face streaming a $10 million long. That's what's up. Shout out to Jesse Gellick in the chat. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Shout out to Nick, Flip, and Fred Sloan. Just did 75 push-ups. Gonna wolf down some oatmeal and get ready to go to church. That's what's up, man. You know? I'm starting a new workout plan today. A new program today. And, some full body stuff. You know? And I currently don't have a church to go to. So if anyone knows a good church in the area, let me know, alright? I used to go to a Baptist church in town, but some stuff went down. I had to stop going there. And yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens, man. Marley, man, that's me. He says, he wants to know, chat, would y'all ever put your money into anything, someone, or something that says I don't have to return your US dollars? Well, that's Tether contracts. He's right. Yeah, he's right. But, you know, Marley, I do put my money into Tether contracts simply because I like to diversify. You know, I like to stack my crypto and I like to stack my Tether. Because the sad reality is, as much as I like the ideals of being a true crypto guy and screwing the traditional finance system with our crypto peer-to-peer, you kind of need US dollars in order to function and buy stuff. And I'm not trying to sell my Bitcoin every time I want to buy something in real life. I'd rather keep my Bitcoin stacking separate and make Tether through the perpetual contracts on Tether. You know, so I can cash out and buy stuff. But it's all personal preference. And yeah, Tether, the dollar, it is worthless. It's a giant Ponzi scheme. Can you look at Pangolin, PNG? For sure. Thank you, Brandon. Wait, we got one before Brandon. Ondo Poncho says SEI. Let's take a look at SEI. Then we'll look at PNG. All right, so SEI. I guess we were looking at this a little bit before, huh? A good church is hard to find. Yeah, I mean, thankfully, look, I am Messianic Jewish. I go to a Messianic Jewish synagogue on Shabbat, so it's not like I'm without community. But, you know, I always like to fellowship with believers in the area, right? So been looking for a hoich. All right. Let's see here. SEI. So we saw the bull divs at the lows, bounce, retest, trigger wave. Beautiful. I mean, it looks great. It looks great. I don't remember the last time we looked at SEI, but honestly, we already got a breakout and a retest of our POC, which was also the value area high of our previous range. Probabilities are highest that we head up to the value area high, which right in this moment gives us a horrible risk to reward ratio. However, let's go ahead and put this back on log scale. Falling wedge. All right. Breakout, back test, all-time high. That's what we would be looking at. Money flow on the weekly looks really good. It looks like we're going to get that move. Assuming the all-time high, that's a 6-to-1 risk reward. All right, we've already got our back test of the fib after our initial change of market structure. So getting in now with your stop below 23.78 cents. It's not something I would really recommend, but it's not a dumb trade. A better idea would be waiting now for another back test of the fib levels. So that's actually gonna, if we get another retest of our POC and we start to bull flag here, right? That would actually be where a better entry would be forming a bull flag here and looking to get in on the back test of 25 cents, right? Which then would give us a 4-to-1 risk reward just at our trend line, 5-to-1 just at our high volume high, 17-to-1 for the all-time high. If we get in now, it's still a 5-to-1 to the all-time high. Overall, it looks pretty bullish. So because it looks bullish, if we do get a pullback, I would be looking right now for the back test of around 25 cents. A good scenario, like for a really good risk to reward entry right now, is that this whole thing here actually turns into like a sideways range and we make our way back down to here. Is that going to happen? You know, we don't know. But we can see the nice confluence of that happening. People say it's over for DOT. Just ape into every poo coin. Look, don't ape into anything, okay? You know? Don't ape into anything. I missed your super chat. Silosis says I missed the super chat. Let's see. Sorry, bro. I'm so sorry, man. It's because you super chatted twice in a row. All right, we got to give a shout out to Silosis V2 LTC AVAX. LTC against AVAX. Or is that LTC and AVAX? Is there an LTC AVAX chart? No, okay, so you want to look at Litecoin. So here's my deal with Litecoin. I do really like the fact that it is forming a massive triangle, very similar to ETH, all right? We got a really nice bounce from this key support. That was the Fibonacci 786, also the trend line. And we're making now a higher low, back testing the Fibonacci golden pocket right here. And the weekly time frame, although we don't have any bullish divergences, it's looking pretty dang bullish. And I do believe if we break out of this trend line, we see a lot of follow through. Look at how many times we tested it just this last year, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times we tested it, and that was a 7, 8. So 8 times we tapped into this trend line. Every time you tap into resistance, it gets weaker. A flip of this level, a flip of $127, could have us pump back up to like a $400 or $500 Litecoin. Now this is speculative because we haven't really seen Litecoin perform very well historically, but compared to the other coins, right? I mean, it hasn't hit an all-time high. It's been like stuck in this little range here, right? It hasn't really pumped. But look at the monthly, printing the green dot on the 0 line, nice and tight. Let's go to the 2-week. Let's go to ETH. I'm sorry, LTC. Let's go to the Coinbase chart here. All right, so I drew that kind of wrong. Interesting. We have 2 trend lines then. We have this one, and then we have this one. Yeah, so 2017 and 2021 pretty much made a double top. So if we break out this trend line, I think we could easily see us come back up to our previous all-time highs. And this whole thing, if we break out of this trend line, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you know, fundamentally, Litecoin is a good asset. It is a good asset fundamentally. Just curious of something. It's probably not that big of a... Yeah, it's really not that big of a... But let's see. Let's just assume that this is like legit. Again, guys, this is very speculative stuff here on Litecoin. But we're looking at a $650 Litecoin, which I honestly think is actually a pretty reasonable target. And AVAX. Guys, it's still my plan for AVAX. I think it's a good one. It looks extremely bullish. We're at support. We're beat down. We have this diagonal trend line, which if we break out, I assume all-time highs. Right now, like, it's not as good of a risk to reward as it was when we were looking at it like a few days ago and last week. But let's just assume that we just come back up to the top of this little range here. We're still looking at more than a 1-to-1. It's a 2.6 to 1 risk reward, assuming we just get this little move here. But this is the move I expect. At least to the all-time high, $150 AVAX. Could be pretty dang nice. Sorry, Silosis. I didn't mean to miss your super chat, bro. All right, shout out to Brandon. PNG. Did we do SEI yet? We gotta do SEI too, but we'll take a look at PNG. Okay, wow, look at this thing. I mean, there's not a lot of data here, but just based on risk to reward alone, it's a 26-to-1 risk reward just based on risk reward alone. Looks dumb on log scale, but on normal scale, look at this. We've seen a major change of structure, and we've seen a major back test of support and resistance. And so therefore, you know, I'm not trying to say that this is a place to get in on it. I don't know what this thing even is. We got to pull our fib to get some kind of an invalidation here. Did we come down to our 886? We're bouncing from our 886. So I would say the one thing to still be aware of here is a liquidity grab of 61.63, right? We haven't really seen a real sign of strength here yet, in the sense that we haven't broke out of this. As soon as we break this trend line, this bounce gets a lot more credibility, in my opinion. Here's what works good for it. We have a 2-week bullish divergence that will confirm in 10 hours. If we confirm that 2-week bullish divergence, this entry right here actually, and again, I don't know anything about PNG. Please, if the fundamentals suck, I'm not telling you to buy it. I don't buy it. I don't plan to buy it. I'm simply just looking at a chart. If this was Bitcoin, let's put it that way. If this was an asset that I had full trust in, I'd say the confirmation of the 2-week bull div, I would buy it. I would buy it. I would buy it and look for the breakout. The breakout target would be, let's take it off scale. Hang on. The first target for the breakout would be $1. All right. So our first target would be a 6-to-1 risk reward. I'd say our second target would have to be 250. That's a 16-to-1. Then that all-time high at like a 30 risk to reward. Yeah, that's even still a 6-to-1 risk reward. Be aware of liquidity grab here. But if we break that trend line and we confirm the 2-week divergence in 10 hours, that's actually a really nice setup, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know much about the asset, but it does look bullish locally here. We have a change in structure, a back test, and a local bullish divergence. All right, SEI. Shout out to Ando Poncho. All right, we were looking at SEI, I guess, a while ago, huh? So, beautiful bottom, bullish divergence, money flow momentum, change in structure, breakout backtest of POC. All right. All in all, looks very bullish. Now, the question is, where do you get your entry? Weekly money flow is about to cross. Very bullish. It looks very bullish. Where do you get your entry? Well, assuming that we got our breakout and backtest of the POC, I don't think there's anything wrong with entering with your stop below that last swing low. And because we're shooting for a bullish breakout, target being the top of the falling wedge, this gives us a 6.16 risk to reward ratio. Now, just remember, some biblical manuscripts of Revelation say 616 instead of 666. So you might be buying the number of the beast here. But look, this is not financial advice, but if we're trading with the trend, having seen a bullish divergence at the low, a change of market structure, and a flip of resistance into support with a weekly candle as our backtest. This ain't no 1-hour candle. The weekly candle backtest, all right? This is a valid setup, all right? It's a valid setup. I'm just throwing that out there. Now, I'm not planning to do it, okay? Shout out to Martin Brokel. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Shout out to Splash. He says, blessings on this beautiful day that the Lord has made. Amen. Shout out to Vegas Claw. He says, Jesus is king. Amen. Indeed. Shout out to Light of Yeshua. He says, what's the gospel? The gospel the good news. Love to talk about it, Let It Be Shua. The gospel is that mankind is separated from God. We are separated from God through sin. Sin is when creation operates contrary to what creation was created to operate like. Alright? Mankind was created to reflect God, but we no longer reflect His character because we don't do the right things. So that creates a separation between man and God. But God, because He desired restoration and relationship with us, He Himself took on flesh. He entered into the creation in a human body. And in that human body, as a representative of humanity, He died the death that we all deserve. And then He rose from the dead 3 days later, vindicating Himself that indeed He is God. And taking on humanity, not only did He die, but He rose again. Now, He promises if we repent and put our faith in Him, He will fill us with His Holy Spirit and cause us to be born again as a new creation. Right? The old creation, separated from God, we will die in our sin. New creation, born again, reunited with God through the Messiah, and now we have eternal life, where we have the hope, an eternal hope, to exist in the existence in which humanity was originally intended to exist in, which is fellowship with the Creator, unadulterated relationship with our Creator, where we actually get to see Him face to face, dwell with Him. That's what humanity was created to do. That's the gospel. I have Wingstop. Oh, I have Wingstop? I don't know. I don't think I have a Wingstop by me. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I actually don't know. I've never even been to Wingstop, to be honest with you. You didn't realize this was a religious channel? This is super religious. I mean, man, we've literally broken out the Bible before. Many times on this channel, we have done Bible studies on this channel. Yeah, that's pretty dang religious. All right, we got some more super chats in the house. What's my opinion of agnostic people like Peter? My opinion is that being agnostic is the only intellectually honest spiritual position that somebody can take. Objectively speaking, being agnostic, looking around at the creation and saying, well, I can't be an atheist. I can't believe that there's no intelligence behind the creation that I see. I just don't know what that intelligence is or how I can relate to that intelligence. To me, that's the only intellectually honest position a person can take. You know, without exploring the facts of, you know, in my opinion, Jesus, who claimed to be the creator and was killed and then rose from the dead. So I'm gonna follow the guy who rose from the dead. All right, I'm gonna follow the guy who came and said, look, I'm the creator. I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And if you trust in me, you'll be born again and have eternal life. And he died, he was killed, and he rose from the dead. So I'm gonna trust the guy who rose from the dead. All right. But yeah, other than that, agnosticism is a logical view, in my point. That's what I would be. That's what I would be. If I wasn't a follower of Jesus, I would definitely be agnostic. Of say, I just don't know, really. You know? Alright, we got some more super chats. AR and Whiff. Let's take a look here. Alright, so we have bullish div on the weekly, higher high, higher low with a bullish div. Again, not financial advice. We're well below the fib levels, but I would say this, okay? I don't know anything about this coin fundamentally, nothing. Alright, but I'm just gonna give you what the chart says right now. Okay, the chart says we had support, we got a fake out, we made a higher high, we got a back test with more bullish divergence, we made a higher low. Therefore, this is not an invalid buy. Alright, the chart looks bullish. We see bullish market structure. I hate how log scale gives me these deep, deep low stop losses. And if this is going to break out of the resistance, then we could see follow through, right? It looks, that's a pretty good 20-to-1 risk reward with our stop under the low. You know, not financial advice. Shout out to Last Tin Can Whiff. Wow. Okay, so Whiff getting the liquidity grab, coming up higher low. Bouncing from the 618. I wish we had that. Wish we had that volume confluence there. Look, I would say that, again, this is not financial advice, but even entering right now is a 4-to-1 risk reward with the stop under the low. Look at the weekly money flow. It looks absolutely beautiful. Again, this is not financial advice, but the chart does look bullish. All right. There's a 4-to-1. There's 4 times more upside than downside. We're breaking back. We've reclaimed, got the back test. This is an entry trigger of the reclaim now. Breakout back test. We're reclaiming right now this level. You could put your stop under this low to give yourself like a 6-to-1, under this low to give yourself a 4-to-1. You know, we take it off here, and this looks absolutely beautiful, like a bullish deviation below the range, and then we come back to the top of the range. It's looking really good right now. Not financial advice, but the chart does look good. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Victor. He says, Cadena, KDA. Alright, so Cadena, KDA. We are back down at the bottom trend line. We have very bullish divergence. Very bullish divergence. I would say that this... let's assume that we come back up to the range high. 4-to-1 risk reward. The thing is, we don't really have any like confirmed change of market structure here. We don't really have, in my opinion, like as nice of an entry or confirmation like we had with that other one we just looked at. We'd have to basically be going based off the fact that the monthly looks like it's about to print a green dot. And the last time that happened, we came back up to the top of the range. The 2-week is printing the green dot. And the last time we had a double green dot in the weekly, we came to the top of the range. So we're front running like major signs of strength here. But the risk reward is, objectively speaking, good. But I don't necessarily see like a really a reason necessarily to get in right now as strong as some of the other coins. It would be a lower probability, but also low risk. Because basically the bottom's either in or it's not, right? Bottom's in or it's not. If the bottom's not in, okay, we get out, right? If the bottom is in and these monthly divergences do play, the probabilities then change. But until then, the probabilities are, well, we haven't seen any major sign of strength, but the risk, we understand where our invalidation of the idea is, right? We don't have to like hold the bag forever saying, oh, maybe it's the next support, maybe it's the next support, maybe it's the next support. It's like, if this ain't the bottom, you know, get out and you risk your 1% or whatever. All right? You risk your 1% or whatever. Is ETH pumping? Let's check out ETH. How's our ETH doing? It's pretty much the same since we started the stream. We started the stream off with ETH, guys. All right. Let's see. Guys, I know we have some extra super chats in here, but I'm going to have to head out, guys, and I really apologize, but I've got a busy day. I've actually got to head out, so I don't have time to analyze these other coins, but I have to give a major shout out to Lazaro, Martin, Filippi, Crypto, and Justin for your super chats, and I'm really sorry I can't get to these coins right now, but I just don't have time. I gotta head out. But guys, God bless you in Jesus' name. May the Lord bless you and protect you and shine light upon you and have grace upon you, and may He turn His face towards you and give you wholeness. And I do pray that you and your families are very blessed. And Lord willing, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.